This is Off Script with Trish Glose, intimate interviews with interesting people. In front of my microphone today is Doug Irvine of Irvine Roberts Winery in Ashland.
Hello.
You can say hi now. How are you, sir?
Fantastic.
Okay, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm finding more and more about you every time I visit you at the winery and we chit-chat, because I can't let you get away without, just at least having like a 15 or 20 minute discussion with you. And I'm learning little things about you every single time I visit.
I've had an interesting life.
You really have. And so I'm excited that you're here because you're going to share this interesting life with my 3 podcast listeners.
Okay. We'll make it 4. I'm in now.
All right. So we're going to talk a lot about wine and your winery. But first, where are you from? Where were you born?
Okay. So I was born down in Southern California in Compton.
That's right. You were born in Compton.
Straight out of Compton. And so in my early childhood, lived in Orange County in the Huntington Beach area. Then we moved up to Oregon. Actually, when I was in 3rd grade, went to Griffin Creek Elementary, then went to McLaughlin.
I love it.
And moved back down to Huntington Beach when I started high school.
Okay, so why did you grow up with siblings?
Yes.
Okay, how many?
So I have 2 older sisters, Kelly Roberts,
Okay.
the Roberts side of it, and do I have to count my other sister?
Yeah, you do.
And my other sister.
And the other sister?
Tracy, and she lives in Temecula.
Okay, so you're the baby.
I'm the baby.
All right. Do you know Hillary Kimling from Schoolhouse Brewhouse?
How do I know her?
It doesn't matter if you do. So, it does matter, Hillary. I love you. She's also the baby. On the last podcast that I did with her, we were talking about the baby of the family and how awesome it is to be the baby of the family.
I have met her.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, now you have something in common with her.
Okay.
We're the babies of the family.
Are you a baby too?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, spoiled and know it and not ashamed at all. We're the best looking. We're the funniest of the family, and I think the smartest too.
And well, I got abused and beat up by my older siblings and their friends. So I'll go along with the smartest and the best looking too, though.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, my brother abused me for years. So it's just would beat me up and make fun of me. But at the same time, if anyone else, got into a fight with me, he would always have my back.
Absolutely. And, it's kind of funny, when I was a kid, my sisters just used to tease the hell out of me and their friends. And everybody knows me as Dougie, and still Dougie. All these years later, people come in to the tasting room and ask for Dougie.
Well, I love it.
And everybody looks like, what? Who's Dougie? And they still call me Dougie like I'm 10 or 12 years old. Well, getting back to getting the hell beat out of me by all of them when I was a kid. One day I just finally went nuts and went kung fu on them all, and that's the last time they ever messed with me.
Okay. How much older are they than you?
So my sister Kelly is 4 years older, and then my sister Tracy is 2 years older.
Yeah, that's just classic for gang up on Dougie.
Oh, it's perfect.
Now, I call you Dougie sometimes.
That's all right. I like
I call
Dougie.
you Dougie Fresh, though.
Dougie Fresh, and kind of growing up, a nickname was Dougie Skunk.
Okay. Should I ask?
It's just because I was rotten.
Okay. You are rotten. So why the move up to Oregon? Why did the family decide to come up to Oregon?
As a kid or
as a kid?
Okay. My dad just wanted to raise us in, he came up and visited some friends up in the Griffin Creek area, fell in love with it, and thought it'd be a nice place to raise us in Southern Oregon. And bought a ranch and raised us on the ranch. It was my dad who raised us, by the way.
Okay.
And so, although he'd always bring my mom, this is part of the interesting story.
Okay.
So my mom and dad divorced when I was young, a little over a year old. My dad just raised us, but he'd always bring my mom along wherever we moved, so we'd have her around. And it was kind of it was crazy, but it was good. But he just wanted a better lifestyle for his kids, and we moved up on the ranch and learned that country life.
Were you, I think you said you were 8 when you moved up here?
Yeah.
Okay. So he moved your mom up here and then moved her back down when you guys moved back down to Southern California?
Yes.
Wow. That's really nice.
Well, that was pretty, that was pretty cool of my dad to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That was really cool. And I think a lot of, when parents get divorced, my parents are divorced, it's kind of like you're done. You don't want to be even close to that person. So that's pretty commendable.
He bought this ranch off of West Griffin Creek. It's Rolling Hills Farms is what it's called now. A bunch of peach trees that we planted when I was a kid. But on the top of the ranch was his house, and then he built my mom a house down at the bottom of the ranch. And so
there was some distance.
it was.
Was it weird to you growing up, though?
No,
was that weird?
It seemed normal.
Right.
But I had just a kind of a crazy childhood. And just a bunch of characters that were involved in my life. Good people, but everybody's a little.
Well, speaking of characters, I learned one legit character that was in your life at a very young age. Chuck.
So my uncle. Yes,
Uncle Chuck.
Chuck Norris is my uncle.
Like Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris.
Okay.
Chuck Norris.
And he's related to who in your family?
So my mom's sister. Is an uncle through marriage, but he was like a second father to me as I was growing up, and even afterwards, after college and when I started developing property, we partnered up on deals like that. And I have two cousins my age that they're like my brothers, and so Chuck was a big part of of my childhood and teens and early 20s.
Sure. And obviously, he lived in Southern California. Okay, and so would he visit you guys up here in Oregon?
Yeah, he'd come up to Oregon occasionally, and my cousins would come up. They'd spend the summers up with us up in Oregon, and Uncle Carlos, and my Aunt Di would come up and spend time, and they loved it up here.
Was that, because he obviously a celebrity, movie star, was that weird at all for you, or was it normal?
It was normal, and at that age, you don't comprehend it all.
For sure.
It was kind of fun because he'd bring me onto sets and give me little parts in movies and TV series and things like that, and I had no clue what I was doing, But we'd have fun with it.
What movies were you in?
Oh, let's see, Breaker. Good Guys Wear Black. And then I did a lot of work on Walker, Texas Rangers.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that TV show.
Yeah.
It's a big.
So did I. I forgot about it too.
It was a good TV show.
I was the worst ever.
Really?
I'm horrible.
How was he as an uncle? I'm assuming obviously you're a great guy, so he's probably a great guy too.
He's an amazing man. He's just an amazing man. He's really, to this day, one of the toughest guys there is out there. He has this crazy, weird pain tolerance, and this amazing mental toughness that you've never seen in anybody. And some of the things I learned from him actually is giving time to people. And the older I got, the more I'd watch him in crowds, and he was always willing to give his time to people. People would come up to him and just want to talk to him in restaurants or wherever it was. And he would give that one person 100% of his attention while there's 100 other people trying to get his attention. But when he spoke to you and talked to you, he would engage with you and give you the time. And I never saw him ever turn anybody down for an autograph or a quick conversation. He's just an amazing guy.
I love that.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said about his character.
Oh, good. Yeah, he's a handshake guy.
Awesome. That's really cool. So, Uncle Chuck Norris, did people believe you when you said, yeah, my uncle is Chuck Norris? I'm sure you probably didn't go around saying that all the time, but when it came up in conversation.
Yeah, growing up earlier, when we were in high school and college and my cousins were around and everybody knew who they were.
Okay.
So, through association, everybody kind of knew.
Okay.
So it's nothing I really spoke about.
So you moved back to Huntington Beach.
Yep.
When?
Starting high school.
Okay.
Went back to Huntington.
And your dad was, you said, like a land developer.
He was a developer builder.
Okay.
And, he did a little bit up here and quite a bit down in Southern California.
Where in Southern California?
In Orange County
Okay.
and the Inland Empire, Riverside County.
Okay.
Huntington Beach and...
Irvine?
No, not Irvine.
Okay.
And a lot of people think that we're part of the Irvines.
I totally am thinking that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm glad you cleared that up for me.
Yeah. So, for me, I got into land developing and building as well, and did a lot of master plan communities and subdivisions in Southern California, mainly the Inland Empire. And people would assume that I was part of the Irvine Company, or I was the Irvine Company. We were doing some pretty big deals, but it was a different company altogether.
Well, I mean, your last name is Irvine,
Yeah,
so.
it helped out.
Okay. So you go to high school in Huntington Beach.
Yes.
You go to high school where?
At Ocean View High School, the home of the Seahawks.
So really funny. We're at the winery I don't even know, it was a few months ago. And I think your wife, Dion, said something about you growing up in Huntington Beach.
Yep.
My husband grew up in Huntington Beach. And he's like, no way, that's so bizarre. What high school did he go to? Ocean View High School. No way. I mean, you guys, you can use some of the same teachers.
Absolutely, yeah. And those were some pretty wild days for me too. So I'm sure that the teachers remember me.
Yeah.
And your husband.
Yeah. Well, you guys strangely have very parallel high school careers because you both were pretty bad students.
It was horrible. I was horrible.
And you got into some trouble.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about the teacher was there a teacher that locked you in the closet?
I locked him in the
Oh,
closet.
you locked him.
Locked him. Oh, no. Oh, no. And the teacher did lock me in a closet.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Frim, who is no longer with us, he
Okay.
passed a while ago. My friend Rick Mosier and I don't know what I was thinking. We locked him in the closet. And it was like a portable closet, and he tried kicking it open, and he broke his toe, and we got in trouble for that, and that was kind of a nightmare and a mess. Well,
yeah.
months later, we had these glass classrooms. They were like bubbles. I'm not sure what they were. And this very important speaker, author, was coming to the school, and there's going to be a couple hundred students, listening to his speech. And so they put me in this glass cubicle and told me I'm not to disrupt anybody or screw around. This is important. I said, okay. So I sit in there. Well, they put newspapers on the windows so I couldn't see in or out. And
Right.
People couldn't see me. Well, the mistake they made is they put the newspaper on the inside of the windows.
That's kind of dumb.
And I just kind of cut out a little hole and was like winking at my teacher. And he lost it. Same guy that I broke his toe. I haunted that poor guy.
Yeah, Chuck's just had his high school. Well, he didn't go, but high school reunion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the number. I'm not gonna say. He'll kill me if I said it even accurately. But one of the teachers that you guys had, not together, but a similar teacher was there.
Mr. Frim. Oh no, that was darn it,
Yeah, I don't know, so I can't help you.
Nimmy. We called him Nimmy. I forget. Jim Birch. That's who it was.
These poor teachers.
Yeah, he was a science teacher, and I wasn't a very good science student either.
And then there was, I know, another, I think it was a prank that you pulled on one of your friends, and it had to do with the track. And
That was Rick Mosier again, the one that we
okay.
broke the teacher's toe. So what we used to do, Rick was just a jokester, and we tried to top each other. And I can't believe you remember these stories. I better. So what we used to do is challenge each other to see who could drive our car around the running track, the fastest, and we'd have these competitions. And so one day, and his dad was a policeman for LAPD.
Okay,
and,
poetic.
and so this one day, Rick says, "Okay, I can top that time." I said, "All right, great." And he goes through the gate, starts driving around the track, and I locked the gate behind him. So he was stuck in his dad's van.
Oh no!
In the track, and he got a little trouble for that.
You know, it's a good story when you're cracking yourself up. It's going to be a good story. Do you look back at high school and go, how did I make it out alive?
Yeah, I really do. I can't believe, and I'm sure a lot of people that knew me back then would, be surprised that I am alive, and that I'm married and have 3 daughters. Right. They wouldn't. They go, what?
So speaking of being married, when did you meet Dion?
I met her. I can't remember what year it was, but she was 19 and I was 26.
Okay, so you're into land development at this point, right? Okay,
Yep.
She was in real estate.
She was in real estate. The day after she graduated from high school in Brookings, she during her senior year, she studied for a real estate exam and passed her exam, went down to Riverside, California, and started selling new homes, and that's how I met her.
Brookings,
Oregon.
Oh, I didn't realize she was from Oregon.
Yeah, so she spent a little bit of her high school years in Oregon. Then we just so happened to meet back down in Southern California.
Okay, that's just bizarre. So she's selling real estate in Southern California.
Correct.
What a hot real estate agent.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
You bought a house from her, right?
Yep. And then she got stuck with me.
So you see her and you're just like, wow.
Okay, at that time in my life, I never wanted to be married. I was playing the field, having a good time.
You're 26, right?
26,
okay.
Living on the beach, having fun and playing the field. And I walked into her office, and I saw hearts and angels and fireworks, and I go, whoa,
yeah,
this is the girl I'm going to marry.
She's quite the stunner.
She's pretty.
She's beautiful.
Yeah.
So you see her, this is the girl I'm going to marry, and what did she think about you? I don't mean to laugh.
She thought I was gay. and the story behind that is, so you have to sign in. And so I sign in, and her coworker comes in on the following Monday and sees my name on the list. Well, the little backstory behind it is it was shortly before. Well, it was quite a bit of time before I met Dion that I was asked out on a date for Halloween by this really hot gal. And I said, heck yeah, let's go. Let's do it. We'll have a good time. What do you want to do? She goes, well, my uncle owns a gay bar in Belmont Shores. Would you want to go do that? And I'm saying, yeah, let's go for it. Let's go have fun.
Let's do it. Okay.
So we go to the bar that night.
This is Ripples.
Ripples in Belmont Shores.
It's well known.
Yes. Well, I didn't know that. I went there that night on Halloween, had the time of my life.
Awesome.
Having a great time, drinking tequila shots, doing everything bad, looking good. Well, I was like the hot thing in the club that night, I guess. Right?
Well,
I was the new guy.
Okay. I love it.
And so the night goes on, and I dropped, my date back off at home and, call it a night and move on with life. Well, from there, a rumor began. I don't care if you're gay or straight or what you are. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever makes you happy.
Yep.
And so went home. Well, a rumor started.
You saw Doug Irvine at Ripples.
Yeah. And so everybody, unbeknownst to me, the word on the street was Doug's gay. And I had no idea.
Oh, that's even better.
And so I meet Dion, sign in. Her coworker comes in, and she goes, oh, did Doug Irvine come in here? And back then, Orange County was, somewhat small. And Dion said, well, yeah, he did. And actually, I find him kind of attractive, and I'd actually date him, even though he's older. I'm 26, she's 19, right? I'm like some old dude. And so she goes, oh, well, he's gay, right? And Dion goes, oh, no, I didn't know that. Well, I had no clue.
Okay.
And I asked Dion out, and she goes, well, okay. And I was on my best behavior for a couple months. I mean, I didn't try any monkey business or, I was courting her because I was in love, right? I was smitten. And so finally one night, she asked me, she goes, are you gay? I go, what are you talking about? And she explained to me the story, and I go, oh, my God, for a couple of years, everybody's been thinking I'm gay, and oh, well.
Oh, well. You're not gay.
I'm not gay.
You guys got married.
Yes.
When did you get married?
28 years ago. 28 years ago. So,
Awesome.
Yeah, she was 21 or 22. I was 28.
I love that. So you guys live in Southern California for a while?
Yes, we did.
Because you have 3 girls, and they lived down there for a long time, right?
Yeah, so they lived down there. And then when our oldest daughter, Alex, started school, we said, let's get out of here.
Okay.
And we'd start traveling up and down the Northwest looking for places, and we kept on coming back into Ashland, just falling in love with Ashland.
Mm-hmm.
So one day we just said, let's do it, let's go. Packed up and left, and everybody thought we were nuts.
Okay, so back to Oregon you go.
Back to Oregon.
All right. Was it a little, I mean, because you didn't obviously grow up in Ashland when you were here as a young kid, but was it a little nostalgic for you to be back in the state?
Definitely. Just had such great memories as a kid, and being raised the way we were raised and having that lifestyle. I just thought it was so cool, and to be able to give back to my daughters and let them experience some of that was kind of important.
Okay. So when you guys moved to Ashland, was it where you're living right now?
No. So we bought some property from Doug Newman, Doug and Becky Newman.
Okay.
Built some houses, and we're living in the house up on Granite Street, and we said, you know what are we doing here in the neighborhood? Let's get out in the country, and so raise the girls on a ranch. And
I like it.
That's kind of what we did. We went and bought some property on Immigrant Creek Road, and ended up, building a couple houses there and raising the daughters.
Okay.
There.
And then you guys take a trip to, I think this is right, you take a trip to Europe, right? I
Yep.
think?
Yep.
And then you come back. Are you looking on the map?
Yep. Looking on the map.
You're not the first to do that. For those who don't know, there's a ginormous map of the world behind the camera, and it's quite large.
The whole wall.
The whole wall, in fact, yes. Maybe I'll show it one podcast. I'll just
should.
flip the camera around and be like, this is what we're talking about. So you go to where in Europe?
So
you travel to?
At
You
that time.
point it out to me.
Okay, so our daughter, Alex, our oldest daughter, studied at Oxford one summer, and during high school, and so we said, well, let's go over there and make a trip out of it. And so as we dropped her off at Oxford, the rest of us traveled around Paris and Italy and
Nice.
and in those areas, and that's where we kind of discovered wine and got turned on to wine.
In fact, you guys get so turned on by it, you come back and say, let's plant some vines.
Yeah, and so this was kind of, Southern Oregon's been happening in the wine business for a long time, but it really seems to, about 15 years ago, it started getting some legs, and in 2007, that's when we jumped on board and said, let's plant this little. It was going to be a landscape project going down our driveway. We thought it looked pretty. Then it got out of hand.
Really?
Yeah.
It really did get out of hand.
Yeah, it
'cause
went
you guys,
from
how
4
many-
acres to 52 acres.
52 acres.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when did your sister get involved with this venture?
So 2012, and Kelly and I, excuse me, and Dwayne and Dion,
Okay.
we've been partners in land development deals for forever.
Okay.
And we have some investment properties together. And Dwayne, his background was in food, and he was doing frozen burritos. He invented the frozen burrito.
I love this guy.
Oh, yeah. So he had his frozen burrito company and sold it in the 70s. And at the time he sold it, they were producing 1 million burritos a day. So Dwayne thinks big like that, and still to this day, he has a big food factory, 1 million square feet in the UK, that they do ethnic foods and spreads and hummuses and
He
foods
invented the frozen
like that.
burrito.
He invented the frozen burrito. And
That's pretty. I mean, it's pretty genius, but it's also like you kind of go, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, well, that was when Mexican food started, cranking in America, and he's just he's kind of an incredible guy.
Well, I think anyone who invents the frozen burrito is a friend of mine.
I
I
agree.
automatically like him. I've never met him.
Yeah. So anyhow.
Anyways.
So that was, they have that food background, And we were doing a number of development deals together, real estate development deals. And Dion and I, started this vineyard and this crazy wine idea. And in 2012, my sister and brother-in-law wanted to, hop on board and get involved in the wine business. So we said, come on, let's go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's Dwayne, Doug, Dion,
And Kelly.
Kelly.
Yes.
Kelly
Bell.
So you guys start this wine adventure. You're making, and people have heard about Irvine and Roberts, but there was no tasting room, and you were just sort of, correct me if I'm wrong, you were just kind of making wine for you guys, for yourselves, just like for friends and family?
No, in the beginning, we
Right.
just kind of made, a couple hundred cases and did a little distribution locally in Ashland, and it was a hit. And we grew a little bit and kind of hit the Southern Oregon a little bit more.
Okay.
And as well, Kelly and Dwayne owned the Riverside Mission Inn, and we were selling a lot of wine out of the Mission Inn. And right off the bat, our wines were pretty good, and we had a little following, and we, it was our desire to grow and get bigger. And so we, expanded the vineyard from the 4 acres to the 26 acres and now 52 acres. But then it took us a couple years to get our approvals and build out the facilities, the winery and the tasting room.
Who was your winemaker at the time?
So our consulting winemaker was Robert Britton, and who's out of the Willamette Valley, and he helped design our wines. And then we were using Quaddy North. They were our winemaker, our Custom Crush.
Those guys.
They're amazing.
Some serious talent.
Amazing. They are. This valley is lucky to have them. They're amazing.
I just had her here on the podcast, and we talked a lot. He's known as the godfather of grapes. Did you know that?
Herb?
Yeah.
That's funny.
He knows a guy. He knows a guy that knows a guy. He can get you grapes.
He's amazing, and he's such a character. And
his team is amazing.
They're whole. I love them.
I love them too.
They've been so good, and they make amazing wines.
They really do. So they were making your wine for a while.
Yep.
Okay. And so Robert Britton is actually how you guys were introduced to Vince, your current winemaker.
Yes.
Okay.
So Vince worked for. Isn't Vince amazing?
I love Vince. I need to get Vince here, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's got a good, cool story too.
Yeah. So Vince is just this talented, winemaker, and he's just smart. Just has a science, scientist's mind, and combined with, his artistic ability and his instincts are just incredible. So Vince worked for Robert for 4 or 5 years under Robert's Chardonnay and Pinot programs that they were doing up there. And then went to Domaine Serene.
Yep.
And we were able to coax him out of Domaine Serene to come down here, and he came and checked out the area, Southern Oregon, and he's a real outdoorsman. He loves the culture and hiking and rafting and fishing, and he loves everything here. And he believed in what we were doing. And he saw the wines that we were making and the way we were growing and the potential that the site has and the winery has. And we said, Vince, this is your deal. This is your deal. You can make this thing happen and grow with your name on it. So he bit.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. In fact, like 2 days later, he was looking for an apartment or a place to live. Yeah. So, so you guys open up the tasting room. It's brand new. It's like last year, right?
Yep. Yeah, year old now.
Okay. Whenever I see you and Dion in the tasting room, and correct me if I'm wrong, you seem like she has to rein you in a little bit.
Yes, she does.
like you're the guy that's like, here, try some of this. Here, taste some of this. And Dion's like, Doug, stop it.
Well, yes, I do that, and I tell inappropriate stories and
in the middle of the tasting room.
In the middle of the tasting room, and people are looking at me like, who is this guy? And Dion's my filter, so this is very dangerous what I'm doing right now without Dion here.
I was going to ask, was she a little nervous?
Oh yeah, of course, everybody is. Don't let me loose.
Everybody's nervous.
Yeah. What's
She,
Doug
like,
going to say now?
Yeah, Doug, you can't tell this story. You can't tell this story.
Oh, and I have the best jokes, and they're all just nasty, dirty. I can't,
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's why I like you, Doug Irvine.
Thank you.
That's why I like you a lot. What does the future hold for Irvine and Roberts?
We're just gonna. It's kind of fun because every year we set a new mark for ourselves, and our goal is just to keep on improving on what we're doing and making better wines and a better experience for our guests. And I'm not shy about saying this, and we have a long way to go, and I've shared this in the past, but we want to be known as one of those top wineries in Oregon, and our goal is to shoot for the top, and we're not going to stop until we're on the lips of those people talking about Oregon wines, and we know we have our work ahead of us, but we're passionate, man. We're driven to make this happen and be one of those top-notch, top-tier wineries.
Okay, and one of the things, and I think you guys are definitely on your way. One of the things I like about Irvine and Roberts too is that there's just a handful of wines that you make.
Yep.
It's, I think a lot of people, there's a lot of wineries around here that make a ton of different wines, and their wines are incredible. But I kind of like that it's limited.
Yeah, we're a Burgundy house basically, and when we first planted the original vineyard, we experimented with the Tempranillo and Nebbiolo and Chardonnay and Viognier and the Pinots, and so we experimented with a few different varietals, and what we discovered is we had a little problem. If you ever get a chance to drink some of our Nebbiolo, the only vintage that we were able to put in bottle, don't try it.
Don't try it?
No, I have it hidden in the corner, and it's just horrible.
It's not good.
No, not good. But what we discovered is our Chardonnays and Rosés were pretty special, and it's just because of the site where we're at. And the Tempranillos, a couple of the vintages that did mature and we were able to harvest, they were pretty good. But, only having a crop once every 3 or 4 years of Tempranillo that ripened properly, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And so we just went back to saying Pinot and Chardonnay thrives here.
Yeah, you're just doing what the land is telling you to do.
That's exactly it. So that's, we're not going to get too far, away from what we do best. And we're not going to source grapes from other people. It's all estate grape. So it's kind of fun.
Okay, I like it. We're going to wrap up, but I definitely want to suggest out there that people go visit Irvine and Roberts and go see you and be inappropriate with you in the tasting room.
Please do.
Bring all of your inappropriate jokes to
Yes.
Doug Irvine. Just make sure Dion's maybe not around at that time.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't let that happen. I'll get the evil eye.
The evil eye. No, she's awesome. All right. Final 3. Best advice you've ever been given.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
There's a couple pieces.
Okay. I like it.
The first one is, hold on, son. Okay. Now the story behind that, the backstory.
Please.
Love my dad. He was my hero. And when I was younger, this is in Huntington Beach, my dad, he had a little bit of a wild spirit too back in the day before my dad's gone now, but.
So you get it honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was remarried to just a beautiful woman the last 30 years of his life that just changed his life for the good. But early on, when I was a younger kid, he had a wild streak in him. So there's this one gal who I won't mention that he was dating, and back then, my dad would always had an Eldo Cadillac, and we'd put a mini bike in the back of the trunk, and we'd go find a field to go ride the mini bike in. This is in Huntington Beach when it was all cabbage fields.
Okay.
And so we'd go to this one place to ride my mini bike, and he'd put me in the trunk of the Eldorado, and I'd hold on to the mini bike as we're driving down the street, right?
You're in the trunk?
Yeah, that's how we rolled.
With the trunk closed?
No, the trunk would be open.
Oh, okay.
So I'd be like, one arm would be holding up the trunk, and the other would be holding on to the mini bike. And like
Can't be legal or safe.
No, 7, 8 years old. So,
oh my God.
So this one time, this wild woman that he was dating pulls up. We're on Beach Boulevard, would be like Crater Lake Highway, right?
Okay.
And all of a sudden she pulls up, and I'm in the trunk holding on to the mini bike. We're coming home. And she pulls up next to my dad and starts screaming and yelling at him about some jealous rage she was under. And my dad yelled out the window, "Hold on, son."
No. And he guns it?
Guns it. And we're racing down Beach Boulevard, and she's hitting the car, right? And this is the crazy, it's like Starsky and Hutch. And so this is only going on for a couple of minutes, and he pulls into our neighborhood and screeches into our driveway, pops out of the car and runs out in the back to make sure I'm still in the trunk.
Oh my God.
And he looks at me and he goes, "You okay, son?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." I'm thinking all this is just normal, right? And he goes, he just said, I'm sorry you had to see that. So hold on, son.
Okay.
Was one of them. But my dad, he gave me some just great advice, and you couldn't stop that guy. And so probably the best advice he ever gave me is never quit. Never, ever, ever quit. Always give it your best and go for it, and never back down to anybody. Be ready to scrap. Never quit. And his thoughts were, when you quit once, it's easy to quit everything thereafter, and it's so true. And I remember when I moved back down to California, there was a Pop Warner football team, where it was kind of Palos Verdes, which is a high rent district, and most of the kids went to science school or something like that. Well,
right.
My dad wanted me to play, football on the local Pop Warner team, and the only one available was down in Compton, and I was like the only white kid on the team, and these guys, I'm 13, 14 years old, and
right.
these guys were pulling up in cars, coming out of their cars smoking cigarettes and big old Samoans, and just is crazy. And I'd cry every day.
Oh.
And I'd say, "I'm quitting." He goes, "No, you're not quitting.
Wow.
You got 30 more days," or whatever it was. And I really appreciate to this day that he didn't allow me to quit, because it did make me a stronger person and taught me a lot of lessons. And then along the way, I just had some amazing college coaches that just were so inspiring and just, helped me become a better man. I went in as a young, wild kid and came out with a few, good life lessons. So
awesome.
Those are,
I love that story.
Yeah.
That's great. And the hold on, son. Is that, have you ever used that like mentally, or is that just a really good story that just reminds you of your dad?
That was some great advice back then.
Well, it was.
Hold on.
That was some really good advice.
Yeah.
But I also think too, not to get all deep, but life is an adventure, and there are times where you got to hold on, son. And
not quit.
And not quit.
And this crazy, real estate development world that we've been in, and it's a scary business sometimes, and you got to hold on. You can't quit. You got to keep on digging.
I like it. All right. And what was your dad's name?
Doug.
Doug.
Yep.
Okay. So are you Doug Jr.?
Yep.
Okay. Well, to Doug. I like that.
He was a great man.
He sounds like it. If you ever left this place, Southern Oregon, what would bring you back here? What would you miss the most?
What I would miss the most, I just love what Oregon's about, the organicness of it, if you will, and the people and the beauty and the nature, and when it's not smoky, the air, it's so nice to come back here and you pop off on the plane or drive back, and it just smells so good. So true. So just the beauty of Oregon, and when my daughters are growing up and we were driving through Oregon to go to soccer games and going over the Cascades to Bend or wherever it was, I just try to tell them, just soak this in. There's kids out other places that will never see anything like this. Look how beautiful this is. So, the nature and just the wonderful people. I love Oregon.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I do love the state.
I'll tell you what I'd bring back with me.
Okay.
this little brain drain that we get here. We have some amazing kids in this valley that go to school, then we lose them to the big cities. They go to the universities outside of Oregon. They don't come back. And so we have this little brain drain, but if we could get that youth back up here with, good jobs and technology, that's what I would bring back with me.
Yeah, no, I like that. Talking about the air, I visited my parents when they lived in Fort Worth, Texas, and it was April, and so 108 and humid, which was just unseasonable for that time of year. And we had a great visit, but the weather was awful. I mean, it was just, you couldn't be outside.
Yeah.
We get off the plane in Medford, and I think it was maybe 78 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, the sun was going down, and I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, you're home.
You just breathe it in, and you're just like, oh, this is what we've been missing. The final of the final three, if you were ever given a final meal and a final drink, what would that look like?
Okay, we're going to go around the world on this one. Okay?
Oh, yes.
So there's a few things.
Okay.
So, okay.
We're looking at the map again.
My aunt's biscuits and gravy with her eggs and bacon. That's just the best ever. And then my sister Kelly's lasagna. We'd have to add that to it. Then we'd stop in Anguilla. Have you ever heard of Anguilla or been to?
No.
So Anguilla is down by St. Bart's. It's in the Caribbean.
Okay.
By St. Martin, St. Bart's. Anyhow, Anguilla is the place that we've gone. That's where we took our honeymoon. My aunt lived there for 30 years, and a little island. Well, they have this little island the size of a basketball court right off their island. It's called Silly Key, and all they make is this. There's no electricity.
Okay.
It's all on wood-fired, or gas, on grills, and they make lobster, rice. It's on a sandy little beach, conch shells, and rum punch.
Oh.
And it is the best lobster. I don't know what they do, but it's the best lobster ever. And these rum punches, you drink one and you're gone. You're gone. And so we usually drink 5 or 6 of them. So we're really gone. So we'd have to stop by there.
Okay.
Then we'd go to Portofino and go to El Magazine and grab some pasta there. Best pasta ever. If you're ever in Portofino, go to O Magazine restaurant.
Okay.
And it's fantastic. And then you have a bottle of Gaia Nebbiolo there with your pasta in Italy. Come home, Dion's Tacos.
Dion's Tacos.
Oh, that would be the final meal before I die.
Okay. So what does she put in her tacos?
I don't know, but they're the best tacos ever.
Is it like steak or chicken?
She does steak and chicken and
Okay.
I don't know how she does it, but they're the best ever.
Soft tortillas or crunchy?
Crunchy.
I love crunchy tacos.
Yep. And she makes this amazing guacamole, and she's a really good cook. And so that would be it. And then I'd end the night with a White Russian.
Okay, Big Lebowski.
Yeah, Big Lebowski, all the way.
The dude. Yep. That's awesome. Little White Russian. What kind of, and you do traditional White Russian?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Good vodka.
Good vodka. Kahlua.
Kahlua.
Cream, some ice. Kick your feet up.
A White Russian.
Get a little hammered.
Doug, you just crack me up and you make me smile. If you're listening to this podcast on iTunes and you like it, please subscribe, rate, and review. It helps other people find us. We're also on Google Play. You can check out the video portion of this podcast at ktvl.com. Just click on features, then off script. Go visit Doug Irvine at Irvine Roberts.
Come on.
Yeah. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.